Today in class, we'll be discussing the end of World War II in 1945 on the Pacific Front against Japan by use of atomic bombs.
The use of atomic weapons forced the Japanese to surrender. Many argue that the bombings were unnecessary, stating that more conventional methods may have been as effective. Casualty estimates for an invasion of mainland Japan were in the hundreds of thousands on both sides, so President Truman believed he was saving lives. Some say dropping the atom bomb was his only option.
During World War II, the Axis powers consisted of Germany, Japan, and Italy. The first of the Axis powers to surrender was Italy on September 8, 1943. Almost 2 years later, Germany surrendered on May 7, 1945. This brought on the end of the war in Europe, but war still raged on the other side of the world. Although the European front came to a close, there was still fighting in the Pacific Ocean between the last remaining Axis power, Japan, and the Allied power, the United States. The leader of Japan during World War II was Emperor Hirohito. In the United States, President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who saw the country through a majority of the war, passed away in April of 1945. His vice president, Harry Truman, became the next president of the United States, and thus the weight of the Pacific Front fell on his shoulders. Up until the point of the atomic bombs being dropped, Japan was being constantly firebombed by the United States in hopes of forcing a surrender. To force Japan into surrender, the United States decided to use their brand new weapon on a populated area, and thus, on August 6, 1945, the Enola Gay took flight.
A short time ago, an American airplane dropped one bomb on Hiroshima and destroyed its usefulness to the enemy.
As the mushroom cloud over Hiroshima rose into the sky, 80,000 people died, 35,000 people were injured, and another 60,000 people would die within a year. 3 days later, on August 9th, a second bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. On August 15, 1945, Japan surrendered to the Allied powers, officially ending World War II and 14 years of warfare for Japan. The end of the war death toll for Japan was 5 million, over half of which were civilians, due to fire raids and atomic bombing.
If the public learned that the president had a weapon that could end the war in 1945, but chose not to use it, the court of public opinion might have judged him as weak and incompetent. President Truman would bear the weight of that decision for the rest of his life.